Okay, so hi everyone, and thank you for joining another Foreman community demo. I'm Nofar, I'm an active developer within the Foreman project, and I'll be hosting the demo today. And yeah, as usual, we have some updates to share with you and some new things we've been working on to share as well. So for any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us at the Foreman group chat on Metrics, or during the demo, you can also use the chat here on Google Meet. Let's just add all the people that wants to join. Okay, yeah, everyone's here. We can continue. Great. So this is our agenda for today's demo. We have a few demos to present. We have some Foreman developer focus demos, and then we have a new initiative of BYOP, which I'll talk about next. Yeah, so let's dive in. Okay, so before, sure. Yeah, my screen is visible correctly. Good. Okay, so before we get started with today's demo, I'd like to introduce a small experiment we're launching for the community demo. So a little background, sometimes people run into interesting problems. I would say design challenges or even bugs that they like to discuss with the community, but they don't necessarily have a finished feature or a solution to present. So at the same time, many of us enjoy seeing how others approach debugging and problem solving. So we're trying something new called BYOP, which is short for Bring Your Own Problem. And the idea is simple. So instead of only showcasing complete work, you can also bring a problem you're currently working on. In a short presentation, you can explain the context, what you tried so far, where you're stuck, and yeah, invite the community to brainstorm ideas or share similar experiences. So this is a pilot, so we're keeping it lightweight and seeing how it goes. And if the community finds it useful, we'd love to make it a regular part of future demos. And any feedback is very welcome. And we're already picking up things off today. So we have our first BYOP presentation from, forgot, yeah, I'll introduce it later, which we'll talk about the subnet assignment issue, but I won't get into too much detail. We'll see it after. Yeah, and we'll hope that it goes well for first term. So if you have any interesting problems you'd like to share with in a future demo, don't wait until we solved it. And yeah, I just remember Alexander will be doing the demo. I just forgot the name of their organization. So Alexander will introduce it later. Yeah, thanks. That was all for this new pilot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so in the meantime, we can start our demos for today. Yeah, I skipped one slide. The first demo is going to be presented by me. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about applicable or installable toggle, which is hidden for host assigned to rolling content views. So this is a bug fix in Katello. This is the issue. We have it in a red mine if you're interested in seeing more details, and I also have a presentation for it. Okay, so let me quickly prepare my screen. Okay, so this is the title. As I mentioned, this is a bug fix for Katello. And let me start with showing you the page that needs to be fixed. Yeah, so as you can see, this is one of my hosts, and here, let me zoom in a little bit, you have the content view environment, and I'm going to talk about this tab here under content, under errata. We have here the toggle, which we're going to talk about with the applicable and installable options. Okay, so let me explain that this demo shows a bug fix in the host errata tab for hosts assigned to multiple content views environments. So you can see here, for example, 2 is multiple. And the issue was that the applicable installable toggle could disappear when it was still needed. Okay, let me go back to my slide. This one. So the key idea is that not every erratum that is relevant to the host is necessarily available for installation from the host assigned content. A little bit background about Katello. What is the errata type showing? So if a host has installed packages, Katello knows which errata apply to those packages. And Katello also knows which content is actually available to the host. And the errata tab simply compares these two things. Okay, so applicable versus installable. Applicable errata affects at least one package installed on a host, and installable errata, applicable errata that are also available in the host's assigned content view environments. So you can say that installable is a subset of applicable. And in simple terms, applicable means it is relevant, and installable means it is available now. Okay, so that's important to understand. Let's remind everyone what is CVN. So content view environment, short CVInv, is a host assignment to a specific content view in a specific lifecycle environment. So it defines what content the host can see, and the host can have one content view environment, or in some cases, multiple of them. Let's summarize it into one sentence. So a content view environment is just the content path the host is attached to. That's all. I hope everything is clear. If not, feel free to stop me. You can raise your hand and I'll stop. Okay, so now I need to mention what is library content view environment. Okay, so library is just the organization's base content area. It is the unpromoted source of synced content. And in this fix, you can think about it as a library content view environment means that the host's first assignment is the default organization view plus the library. I'll remind it later if someone forget. Okay, and now we need to talk about rolling versus non-rolling content view environment. So a rolling content view tracks the latest content continuously, and a non-rolling content view uses a published or promoted version of a snapshot. So the difference matters because a host may have errata that are applicable but not available in a non-rolling assignment. So in simple terms, I'll repeat it. Rolling means follow the latest content, and non-rolling means use a controlled snapshot. That's the difference between them. Okay, so now we're starting to talk about the bug we fixed and why the toggle exists. So if all applicable errata are also installable, the toggle is not very useful. But if some errata are applicable but not installable, so the toggle matters. And that is exactly what this bug fix is about. Okay, so the toggle just exists to show the difference between relevant and available. That's all. Okay, we're getting closer to the demo. So the problem is that the errata tab decides whether to show the applicable installable toggle. And the decision was based on only the first assigned content view environment. And what happens is that for multiple content view environments, hosts, that assumptions was incorrect. Okay, so the UI basically treated the first content view as if it presented the entire host. And that works for a single content view environment host, but not for hosts assigned to more than just one content view environment. Okay, so that's the broken environment. Okay, so for example, if a host was assigned to a rolling content view and then also non-rolling content view environment, the first assigned content view environment was rolling, but the UI based its decision only on that first content view environment. So as a result, the toggle was hidden incorrectly, but the host could still have applicable and non-installable errata from another assigned content view environment. Okay, so why this matters? The users could not switch to the border applicable view. The UI implied all applicable errata were installable, and that made a host errata visibility misleading. Okay, that's clear. Now, the fix is that Katello now checks all assigned content view environments, and it passes one clear results to the errata page, and the toggle is now shown or hidden correctly. Yeah, I think I covered basically everything. So I will show a quick demo to show you how it looks like before we continue. Okay, so I'll start with the first use case, that we first have rolling content view, and after that, the second one is non-rolling content view, and we expect the toggle to be visible. So I'll switch to that host, and here, let's correct that. First one, we need rolling, and then non-rolling. So let's remove. We need rolling. Let's change to dev. Yeah, first rolling, and then we need the non-rolling. Non-rolling is just regular demo. Save. And now we have first one rolling and second one regular. Yeah, great. Let's put it here. Now we expect the toggle to be visible. Great. You see, switch between them. Okay, second use case, also visible. We have non-rolling, and then we have library. If anything is unclear about the use cases, let me know. Oh, I already forgot. Non-rolling. Okay, yeah. Non-rolling, and here we need library. So library, I remind everyone, this is the library and default organization view. This is just the default option. Okay, and we expect it to be visible. Yeah, the toggle is here. And last one for visible, only non-rolling content view environment. So we can basically remove the second one. And we expect it to be visible. Great. Okay, so for visibility, everything works. Now we're going to show the use cases when it's hidden. Let's start with 2 rolling content views, and I'll switch to this host this time. Yeah, only one non-rolling, so I can remove it. And I expect the toggle to be, okay. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. I need 2 rolling, sorry. It's not close. Okay, so I have this rolling, and this one is also rolling. Yeah, okay, 2 rolling. Now it should be hidden. Yeah, it is, good. And 2 last ones, we have library and non-rolling. That should be quick. Okay, library and non-rolling. Sorry. Yeah, library non-rolling. Right? Yes, this is the right order. Great. It's hidden. And lastly, it's rolling on library. So I'll just remove one of them. Let's remove the regular. Let's stay with the library and make sure that the toggle is hidden. Yeah, great. The toggle is hidden. Yeah, I think that was all for me. Right, demo. Oh, I have a quick takeaway. So the bug came from a single content view environment assumption, and now the fix evaluates all assigned content views, and the errata UI now reflects host reality correctly. Yeah, that was all. Feel free to ask questions here later on metrics. Yeah, I'll answer them happily. Yeah, that was all for me. So let's continue with the demos. Let's see who's the next one. Yeah, we have Pavan with Katello errata application history tracking.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Pavan, and today I'm going to demonstrate a fix for the host applied errata report. So the issue here was that the report was generating empty CSV files, even though errata had been successfully applied to the host via remote execution. So the root cause was that the report relied on parsing Foreman task history every time it ran. So when the task get cleaned up over time, the history was being lost and the report would generate empty. So here the fix introduces a database table that tracks errata applications as they happen. So when an errata installation job completes, the system automatically records which host, which errata, and when it was applied. So this makes the report generation more reliable and the data will persist. So this fix spans across two PRs. So we have the Katello PR, which adds the database tracking, and then the Foreman PR, which adds the still applicable column to the report template. So I'll first walk through the main code changes that we have done. So coming to the Katello PR, we have the database migration. So this creates the Katello errata applications table with key columns like host ID, errata IDs, applied at, etc. And then we have the model, errata application model. So this model provides for querying by host, by erratum, by date range, and by status. So the key method here is the record from task method. So this is called when a job completes. So it extracts the host ID, extracts the errata IDs from the job, and determines the status. And finally, we have the create method. So and then finally it creates the database record. So for the errata ID extraction, yeah. So for the errata ID extraction, we handle two cases. One is the direct selection, wherein the IDs are in the job inputs, and the second one is the search based, wherein we parse the script for a magic comment and then extract the errata IDs. So, and the next file would be the middleware. So this middleware, it automatically records the future errata installation. So when a Dynflow action finishes, the finalize method runs, and then we check if it's an errata installation job. If so, we call the model method, that is the record from task, so that that particular job or that particular errata installation job, we have a record in the table. And then this is for the future errata installation jobs, and for the in order to backfill the historical data, we have the upgrade task. So this rake task runs during the upgrade to basically backfill the historical errata applications from the previous or the past tasks. So here, like if we go scroll through, like yeah, yeah, around here, yeah. So we first find all the historical errata installed tasks, and then we do the bulk extraction. Like instead of processing one by one, we bulk load the data, and then we have here we have introduced parallel processing. Uh, yeah, so we have introduced parallel processing. Like we use 4 threads to process in batches of 500 tasks concurrently. This makes the migration fast, even if we have systems with hundreds of thousands of historical tasks. And then finally, we are bulk inserting uh, with unique key in order to skip the duplicates automatically. And this is about the upgrade task for the historical backfill. And finally, for the report template, we have added the still applicable column. I think it is. Yeah, we have added the still applicable column for the report template. So if an erratum that was applied previously is still in the host's applicable list, like if something has changed, we use this particular still applicable value in order to get to know if it's still applicable. And coming to the Foreman PR, we have just added the still applicable column in the erratum template so that we'd be able to see the value in the CSV file. And yeah, now let me just do a small demo by applying an erratum. So here I have an erratum. So I'll be applying that using remote execution. So once this is applied, so here we'll be creating a record in the table, and through that record we'll be able to get the value in our CSV files based on what all errata jobs we have. So just refresh it. I think it is taking some time. Yeah, sorry, it's taking a bit of time. Let me try applying again. If yeah, so basically the UI part, it works similarly like before. So all of these changes are with respect to the backend, how we process things. Okay, I think it's failing for some reason. Yeah, let me just check it out. Okay, I think the first one did apply it. So let me try to generate a report. Yeah, so here we have the host applied errata. So, and then here we will be provided with a form just like before, wherein we can select all the filters and what all values we need. So here the time would be yeah, so I've selected all the details, and then once it is applied, it will automatically download a CSV file. Yeah, so we have the CSV file downloaded. So let me try to get my terminal. Okay. Yeah, so I have this file. And as you can see, the erratum which I have just applied, it is being shown in the report. So it gives us with all the values just like before. Just that how it is working in the backend is we have made it more reliable, and we are making sure that the data persists. So yeah, I guess that's all I have for the demo. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Pavan. Save questions. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for the awesome demo, Pavan. I did just want to mention that since there is a migration that has to happen to turn these into turn the previous jobs into errata application history records, Pavan and also our colleague Aiden did a ton of performance testing. It was really impressive seeing the timing to doing testing to migrate like 50,000 hosts, each with a year's worth of errata applications, go down from, I think, nearly, I don't know, over 100 minutes down to something like 15. But as you go through this next upgrade, definitely let us know if you have any issues with the migration. I wouldn't expect that you should see anything more than like a 15-minute time window there. If you do have a ton of hosts and a ton of applications, for most people, it should look like a no-op essentially. But yeah, definitely let us know. We're looking for that feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay, let's move on to our next demo for today. We have backup restore in containerized Foreman. Chyenne, yep, will you be doing the demo?
Yes, yes, Chyenne, I will be doing the demo. I can go ahead and share my screen. Let's just do the entire screen. Okay. So I will be doing, well, hello again. My name is Chyenne Ross. I am on the Artemis team, and I'm excited to do the demo for the offline backup and restore command. Samir was the one that did the backup, and I am completing the restore. And I kind of just wanted to jump straight into the demo just because some of these commands takes a little bit while to run. But yes, we can just jump right in. Right now, we are in the foremanctl folder. And usually I will start this process usually just by running Foreman foremanctl deploy, just to make sure that all of the environments are working properly and everything is going. But for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to run, let's see, what is it? Okay, there we go. I'm just going to run foremanctl backup and just talk to you about this process. So what essentially this does is this task allows us to run foremanctl offline backups. So this is very important because it allows us to have the comprehensive components of our core developmental components, such as like your databases, so the Candlepin, Foreman, IOP, and then also implements the foremanctl state directory, your pulp content directory, and even container image metadata. So right now, this is going through the process of the current state of the foremanctl and kind of copying over everything. What usually takes a little while is the database side and also starting and deconstructing the environment. And you'll see that a little bit more with restore. But essentially, it creates your backup here. So what you're going to do is copy that because you're going to need that for your restore. While this is still running, essentially backup allows us to really just have that full implementation in the offline version of foremanctl. And with restore, that is a little bit more of my specialty since I've been working on that for the past couple of weeks. Restore allows us to, of course, restore the version of the backup that, well, any version that you create in your different backups. So with the backup, it has different timestamps that that you would use in order to kind of capture which backup you're restoring. And essentially, restore will go through, it'll validate that the backup is essential, or I should say, validates that the backup has all of the proper checks as far as like integrity, your disk space, and even like your system requirements are all up to date. So now that the backup is successfully completed, I can go through and just kind of show you a little bit more about the restore side. So I just kind of wanted to point out these two specific options that we have here. So validate, like I said before, goes through and it checks everything in your system is properly working within like the backup, and then but it doesn't make any changes. So that just allows you to get like a deeper understanding of your backup environment before you essentially go through and do your backup. So the restore part is what usually takes a little bit of time, because we do have to stop all of the services and then restart everything at the end once everything has been completed. And then also, I didn't mention before, but with backup, there is an option to wait for tasks. So that is just a part of some of the backup safety features that we kind of want to ensure are happening. And then also making sure that the database integrity is also met. So let's just go through and run ForemanCTL, restore. You're going to paste that backup that we just created. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to do the force version. What I do? Time. Oops, I see I pasted the entire thing. All right, there we go. So, oops, let's see. Deconstruct the warning. I really hope that this isn't because I didn't run ForemanCTL. It shouldn't be as.
No, it's the force parameter that you require for restoring on the same box.
Okay. Let's try it without. Oh, I see what you mean. Thank you. All right. Okay, so with essentially what we do with restore, like I mentioned before, we validate. This restores all the databases, your POP content, things like encryption keys, all of your essential environments of your ForemanCTL, and then it also verifies and confirms that the services are healthy, that the APIs are responding, everything like that. So we have the safety check of, so we do require the force flag on existing deployments to prevent any accidental data loss. So that was what you seen before. If you don't run that force, it'll give you that error. And with the ForemanCTL restore, I'll just kind of walk you through some of the process that it is going through right now. So it goes through, it validates that the backups are essentially working. It goes and makes sure that the system is prepared for the ForemanCTL stop, so that there aren't any currently running ForemanCTL tasks or POP tasks that are running that we might miss in the process of trying to stop everything and then restore it. And then also with the database restoration, so it creates, well, it stops all of your services, and then it creates all of your admin passwords, PostgreSQL, things like that. And as you can even see here, like it's creating certain your clienteles and things like that, restoring your process. And then it usually takes a while to wait for PostgreSQL to stop. So sometimes we have to wait for PostgreSQL to make sure that even that doesn't get lost. And the POP migration or POP content restoration portion of it, it removes POP media directory. It extracts POP's content and the archives, and then verifies that POP encryptions are met as well. And at the end, we will run a full deploy to ensure that all everything is ran back up, and your environment is restored to its proper version. And usually at the end, there's a verification of all of like your services. So that usually takes a little while. And then it checks your ForemanCTL status at the end, or Foreman target status, I think I should say. But in all, what this restore is essentially doing, it validates your system, it stops your services, it restores your state, and then restores your databases, and then restores your content, then it deploys, and then it verifies everything that has created. But essentially at the end, you will see a link to your new restored version of your Foreman environment. And I believe it will give you that, it will pop up the screen, your final Foreman login with your environment. And yeah, so this is still going to run, so it's going to take some time, but essentially that is restore and backup offline. Are there any questions? I see the
no open questions. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Chyenne. Yeah, let's quickly move to our next demo. And yeah, but by Bernhard, we have a ForemanCveScanner repository update.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. So let me quickly share my screen. Give me a second. Yeah. So I think it was 2 years ago. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah, cool. So 2 years ago, I was at the config management camp, and I had that talk about CVE scanning of Foreman hosts using Trivia and Gripe. So you can see these projects here, open source tools you can use to scan for CVEs on hosts. And well, at that conference, it was just a remote execution job. And that, well, afterwards, the first feedback was like, yeah, it would be cool to have a plugin for that, which is also maybe able to display the reports. So you send out remote execution job, and in the end, you will have a report which shows which CVEs are, well, affected by your system. And well, that laid around about 2 years then. And with AI stuff at the contract management camp this year, I thought about which project can I use to add some more things with AI, for example, and thought about ForemanCveScanner again. And the last few months, I added some more things to the ForemanCveScanner. Well, I did some prompts to AI, and I did some nice things, and I tested all that stuff, etc. So the current state is like, I can show you now. So it's possible to, still possible to run Trivia and Gripe and grab some CVE reports, but it has a UI. So for example, I can show you this little host. And I also have that remote execution job to install Trivia and Gripe, and then it's possible to run a CVE scan on that host. So it will start the remote execution job, and in that remote execution job will look like this in the end. So it takes some time to load the data, the site. So give me a second. I don't know why. So in the end, the output of the remote execution job is like this: start and end, and between start and end, the output of Trivia is in, and another job later on reads what is between start and end and grabs that stuff, and that is my CVE report, which then will be sent to the database. So, and with the new, well, the new version of the CVE scanner plugin, you can now, for example, have an overview of CVE scan details. So you see that host has in total 6 affected CVEs. Here is the list. You can click on, for example, medium. There you can see all these CVEs. You can search, you can filter all, critical, high, etc. And you can do even more. So there is a CVE scan tab here, where you also see the latest scan. You see a trend. So I run that CVE scan on July the 1st, and another one at July 1st with less CVEs. It's also possible to run CVE or import CVE data using the API. So I have imported a CVE scan with 0 findings. Then I can also compare, for example. So for example, select this and this. So I see no new CVEs to resolve, updated, can filter all that stuff. Yeah, you can also see a history. There you can see the source, the scanner. So these are the imported CVE scans. And here you see the scanner tree was used. You can also export all that data to a CSV, which you can then read by Excel or whatever tool you want to use. Yeah, as I said, here you can run a CVE scan. And if you do a scheduled job, you can use a remote execution job to install Treevee or Gripe or both. Then I also have some things which are happening in the back end. So for example, there's a small Katello integration, which if a package upload happens, then CVE scanner will start afterwards to get the latest state of the CVE scan. Or another Katello integration I recently did is that you have, for example, here a fix available. So that fix is applicable only. And if you have a look at another host, I think it's on this one. Check. So here you have installable errata, which would solve the CVE then in the end. That would just hold remote execution job to install errata, which is pretty easy, and it works for RPM-based system and Debian-based systems. Yeah, and of course, there's an API for that, which you can use. Questions? Ian.
Hey, thanks for this, Bernhard. This is really neat looking. So in the quest to have CVE information showed well within our whole application, I was wondering in your solution here how, I guess, detached the CVE data being stored from the scans, or how detached the CVEs are from your scanning system, because I think in the future I could see us having multiple sources of these CVEs. I know Pulp is already working on doing CVE scans, and then we also have the CVEs that are synced from errata, which could be inferred based on errata applicability. So you have all these different sources. And I can only imagine, if there's a very easy way to add these CVEs from all these different sources, it could be pretty powerful.
And I also think that some users also use custom or third-party applications to do a CVE scan on a host, because it's not only CVEs from packages from a repository. People are running Docker containers on a system, or they're using some tools on their system which are not installed by a repository, just installed by a script. So that is something Katello would not recognize. Tool like Tree and Gripe, they really scan the system and go through package lists and user share, GEMS, NPM. They analyze if there are some Docker running and can get all that data out of, or all CVEs out of these different sources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the other thing we would love to capture are those CVEs where there's not even a package fix. Maybe it's a manual step that the admin has to run. So yeah, that's exactly the stuff that you can't get from errata.
Yeah, but and not thought about adding something like more interfaces to Katello or so, because I know there are. Well, Katello is the main system which is able to install errata, etc. So integration is maybe a good thing, but it's fine for now.
Yeah, certainly. I'm just, because we're also thinking about CVEs for containers, as you mentioned, and we would need yet another place to store these CVEs.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to think if we need some, centralized place that Foreman understands where CVEs can be stored. And yeah, I just couldn't help but think of that since you've kind of showed that here. It's very cool.
Good.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions. Just comments. Okay, so thanks a lot, Bernhard. Taking over the screen sharing. So we can move on to our next topic. And now we have Foreman developer-focused demos. First one is by Lukas, a new TaskDetailPage implementation. Yep, whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so can someone confirm that you can see it correctly?
Yeah, looks good. And maybe to zoom in a little bit. Thanks. Good.
Okay, so I would like to introduce you some new stuff from our Patternfly 3 to Patternfly 5 work. We were updating the task detail page, and as a part of the updates, Maria Svirikova created a new design for the entire page. You can see the design in our community. So based on some kind of feedback to the new design, we implemented the whole new page. The page was overall design was changed, and we were doing the changes part by part. So we basically picked up one of the components, updated to Patternfly 5, and then implemented the new design as a whole. So that's why it became 12 PRs, and the PRs landed in 3 versions, version 12.2 and 13, and the latest ones will be in 13.1. So you can see it in our repository. Basically, the Patternfly updates are tagged with PF5, and then the new design are on the top in the latest versions. So I will show you the differences between the old one and the new one. So starting with the success. So this is the old page, and in the new one, we were just simplifying all the stuff. So now the user can easily see that no errors were found, and it's more clear to show the success of the task. Next one is the error page. So in the old design, user always had to go to the error tab and then just scroll down to see the backtrace and stuff. In the new one, the user can easily see the backtrace on the first tab. So that's kind of simplified all of the stuff. When there are more than one error, it's split it into multiple tabs. So you can easily just swap to the next one. And in the old page, you would have to just scroll down all over the items. So that also simplified some things. The dependencies tab were also moved, as well as the logs. The logs have also new design. And the new one, it looks like that, or in the old one. And the new one is just the table. Also, the raw output of the task was kept in the last step. And we also implemented the expansion item so we can hide the not that important items. We also moved the action buttons from the first tab. So in the old design, you had all of these buttons up here. And in the new one, it's hidden under the kebab menu on the right. And that's basically it. We also implemented the rendering from the old ERB template to the new one, React. So basically now the page is rendered by the front end. So the UI just calls the backend for all of the informations. That's also why the old page, when the user has not enough permissions, looked like that. And in the new UI, user can see just this one. So it's also more user-friendly. And that's basically it. If you have any kind of comments or questions.
Perfect. Looks very good. Thanks a lot, Lukas. I don't see any questions, so let's move on to our next demo. Also, Foreman developer focused demo by Thorben, mixing client and server-side search.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, I'll try to share my screen. Hope this is working. If something isn't legible, then yeah, just interrupt me. Right, I want to talk about search bars. They are very important from a UX point of view and also for convenience, but unfortunately, they are not all created equal. So I'll show off 2 to 3 examples. One of those is this one. I can search through this stuff. It's not that important what it is, but rather that the search works. And as you can see, it is extremely fast, pretty much instant. And second one, probably all have used this one on the settings page. If I enter something in here, then it sure takes its time to load the actual results. Now, in all fairness, this isn't such a fair comparison because this has to reload the page. But even one that is pretty much as fast as it can get for something API or server-sided, like this one, is absolutely usable. It's not horribly slow or anything, but it is still significantly slower than the other one. Now, why is that? Simply because this one is running client-sided and this one performs an API request. Why aren't all searches client-sided? Well, I wish they were, but when I do these kinds of things, I often remind myself of this community member who has reportedly attached some 90,000 hosts to his instance, which is crazy, but yeah, it seems to work fine for him. And if you just loaded all the data, which you do have to do to search it on the client side into, I don't know, into memory, get it via API, then I don't know what, either the browser or Foreman, just something would go up in flames and would start exploding. So that's not an option. And yeah, I kind of want to show off something I built, which isn't, I guess, a fix. You can't really fix this core fact that you have to have the data somewhere to search it. And if it's too much for the front end, then you are going to have to do it server side. But I nevertheless have done something here. So this thing uses something that, as the title said, mixes both approaches. I have entered the search here earlier for a setting, and that was intentional. So there's, for this search thing, a setting called search cache size. I've set this now to 3, which is pathetic and not realistic, but I only have so many host groups, so I have to limit it a bit artificially. By default, it's, I think, 100, yes. So if I now switch this over to host group, then you can see I have 3 results, and searching those is, oh, I don't know, I hit the right key. It's very fast. It's pretty much immediate because I don't know if you can read this, but I added something for debugging, or just to show this off a little better. It says searching in the search uses API is false, because this search right now for these 3 items, they are cached. It is running on the client side. But if I now enter something like, I don't know, you can see there's 110, odds are there's a 4 in there, then it switches over to API search, runs the search on the back end by changing the search parameter. And now this has returned what I want to find. But yeah, it has done that via API now. If I switch back by changing my query again to something like 1, then we are again doing client-side search, which is fast. But if I want to look through, like, I guess, all my host groups in this example, then I can do that just by entering something in there, which isn't listed there. Or, for example, I can do something like this. That's also kind of cool because the backend search can do these, like, there's a docs page that explains all of the, I guess, wildcard or special characters. And yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So, you might be asking, what the hell? And that's a fair question. What this basically does is it turns the search or searching into kind of an odds game. Now, as I said, I set this to 3, the limit. That's not something you do in production, of course. But if you imagine you have something like 100 hosts, or no, let's do 120 host groups, and you set that to 100, then you have, I don't know, 120th, which is something a bit over 80% chance of getting a cache hit, which is going to result in a very fast search, but you're not going to be blocked from, I guess, accessing the entire scope. Because if you don't get a cache hit, then the thing will just perform a search on the backend and return the results from there. I think that's kind of cool. So, of course, in all fairness, if you have 90,000 elements, then setting that to 100 isn't going to help you either. That's something like 0.1% chance of hitting it locally. But if you have, I don't know, 100 hosts, you can set that to 100, and all of your search will run on the client side. If you have 120, then you have an 80% chance of running your search on the client side, and the thing will then fall back to server side if it needs to. And yeah, I think this isn't that uncommon. Caches do sometimes work like this. They don't always hit. And yeah, I guess I just kind of thought of this and wanted to try it out, and I realized far too late that this would have actually been, I think, a pretty decent topic for the bring your own problem section. So sorry. I don't really want to show off a solution or anything, but just kind of an idea. Maybe someone thought, yeah, that sounds interesting. I kind of want to look at that. You can go here, go to pull request 100 ATIX. And the thing that actually does all the magic is a custom hook that's called use hybrid search, which on a side note is, I think, rather easy to use. Like, to get the search running, this is all the code that's needed, and it's not even a good example because it has to do host groups and hosts. So there's some ifs going on there, which you don't if you only want to look for hosts. But yeah, that is it. Just a, I guess, quick demo. Just throwing it out there. Maybe someone wants to take a look at it. Someone thinks it's kind of a cool thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If there are any questions, I see one. Jeremy, please go ahead.
Yeah, this looks really cool. My first question, my first thought is, how does this work with scoped search? Can I do like a field equals value search, like I can do on all our models for the backend search? Is it searching all fields, or is it just kind of a simple string?
It's a good idea. I'm not sure. I think you can. Let me try title equals something. I don't know about this. Maybe it needs quotes. As a developer, you have the I guess, choice to make there. Like, the thing does take an argument, which is documented somewhere. Yeah, server search function, which you can use as a developer to construct the search query. So if you wanted to search by title, then you could override this and implement whatever you'd like. There was one tab too many. That's a cool idea, though. I'll look into this a little more because I think that would be pretty awesome to get that working. And yeah, apparently it does not right now, though.
Yeah, I know a lot of our users are sort of used to the scoped search paradigm because we have it everywhere, and then you have that autocomplete that like auto completes the fields for you. I wouldn't necessarily expect that sort of full featuredness when it's just on the front end, but it would be cool if it were like aware of it somehow.
It's actually also a good idea. The autocomplete does already exist, so maybe it could also consume that. Yeah, I'll look into that. That's I hadn't thought of that.
Hey, just want to say too, this is really interesting and cool. I did want to ask for the cached results that do pop up, are they, or yeah, how is that created? Are they just the first ones that pop up based on, you know, how they're sorted in the database?
I suppose, but it's basically what the thing returns if you do a regular API query without any arguments. You could override those to, I don't know, sort them alphabetically, but I haven't done this in this case, so you'll just get the first three in this example.
Gotcha.
And I think
yeah,
that's the order of the database.
Right on. Thanks.
Okay, I think that's it. Thanks a lot, Thorben. So we're over time, but we still have two more topics in the agenda we didn't cover. So I would like for the presenters to decide whether you want to demo this time or next demo, especially our pilot, the bring your own problem. I think it's going to be pretty long and probably not all people are going to stay. So first of all, the next topic is by Archana. So in the meantime, Archana, would you like to demo yours?
Yeah, I can go with this.
Sorry, did you say yes? I didn't get that.
Yes, I said yes.
Sure, so you can demo yours, and Alexander, in the meantime, you can decide what you want to do with your topic. Yeah, I think that's the first time it happens. We have too many topics to cover everything. Yeah, so Archana, feel free to start.
Okay, thanks, Nofar. So let me share my screen. I prepared a little slide for it. Okay, let me disable it. I hope my screen is visible clearly.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I am Asha Kumari from Rocket Team, and this is about a little quick update related to we recently enabled CodeRabbit AI code reviewer in the Foreman control repository, and we are treating this as a evaluation exercise for now, rather than the full adoption. And the goal for this to understand whether the AI assisted code reviews like CodeRabbit one is actually adding values to our workflow, and whether it is going to be a good fit for our team in the long run, and especially for this project. So there is three main things we are trying to answer with enabling this CodeRabbit AI. First is if CodeRabbit can help us catch issues that reviewers might otherwise miss. And the second is if it is suggesting the solution that is actually useful and actionable during code reviews, and the PR author can do the action based on it and resolve those things to make the PR ready for the next review or so on. And the third is if it introduces sometimes noise through false positive or repetitive comments. So these are three main points we are looking into that right now. So essentially we are interested with the quality of feedback it is providing, and the impact on the whole review process it is creating, rather than simply going to the number of comments it's creating in the PR right now when we trigger it into PRs. So I would say basically we are trying to figure out if this is helpful for us or it is just adding overhead into our whole PR reviews workflow process. And here is how the evaluation process is working right now. So first, CodeRabbit reviews PR in Foreman control repos and leave comments based on that. And that happened by manually triggering it by adding a PR comments that is @CodeRabbit AI review. When you do it, it's gonna trigger the CodeRabbit AI and provide the reviews there. And then right now, we from the team look into those reviews and give feedback on those comments if it's really helpful or not, if we are catching the real issue, or it coming up with false positive stuff there. So, or it's missing something, coming up with something but missing something important. So all the reviewer feedback flows into a recommendation as end of the trial period right now. And our plan is we will look at the data and decide, do we want to keep it or configure it differently or look at the other way around it. So for that, we created a simple feedback spreadsheet. If you are one of those who is contributing in the Foreman control repos and reviewing PRs there, and if you find something, you can just find something that is really gonna help us to evaluate this process, you can just drop a link in the sheet and mark it if it's useful or not useful. If you have any thought on this, you can add a quick note if you have it, and that is it what we need right now for this process. And yeah, and this is that's the experiment we are running right now, and it's been a month around, and I also love to hear if anyone has tried it on there and before you have any experience with that and all. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it from my end. if you have any.
Thanks,
Thank
Archana.
you.
So how can access the feedback document?
I can share the link here as well, and also add the link in the Foreman community demo post, if that is helpful.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Thanks a lot, Archana. Yeah, okay, so the last topic from today by Alexander. Alexander, have you decided if you want to demo this time or next time?
I think I can do the demo. The issue ended up being a lot shorter than the
No
original one
problem.
we were going for.
No problem. We still have a good amount of people here. So yeah, feel free to start.
Let's see if I can't share a screen then. There we go, I think. So the issue, we're originally planning on showcasing an issue we were having where it would literally not map subnets at all for discovered hosts. This turned out to be a really odd interaction with one of our local plugins. So instead we're going with a different but related issue we were having. So we're using discovery quite a lot. We're discovering all of our physical hardware. And with this, we're also ingressing all of their interfaces. And it turns out that the code, when you actually pull a discovered host like this, it will, for each interface, it will try to map the subnets to, well, the known subnets on Foreman. But it only does this for the primary interface. So for instance, the IPMI interface here, or the, well, it's a porridge, it's going to be an iDRAC. It is on a IPNet that we have, but it's not actually done the subnet mapping. So you'll have to instead actually manually map the subnet when you're provisioning it, which it is annoying. It's one of those, we're trying to avoid manual steps as far as possible. So we want to, we basically just want Foreman to do all of this manual work for us. And I can note that because this is a simpler plugin or simpler problem, we also know that the issue here in Foreman Discovery is actually just that the import hook for subnets simply just only works on the primary interface. So potential fix would be to iterate every single interface, and if it has an IP address, then do the subnet assignment, but do the location organization taxonomy based on the primary. And that is basically the simplified issue that we ended up going with. We had another few issues we wanted to do, but one of our colleagues is on vacation, and we're also busy with virtualization migration, so we haven't had time to actually sit down and triage things. But yeah, I think that's basically all that I have at the moment. Anyway, and questions, yes. Let's go with Ian first.
Hey, well, I just wanted to ask, so you said that you did already fix this on your side, or?
No, we fixed another issue where the one where they didn't map subnets at all. That was a stupid one where basically we're running a couple of local patches, and including one where we have our own system called roaming. And it turns out if you're during interface like assignment, if you check the subnet, then suddenly the interface loses its IP addresses. No idea why, but just skip that whole part of it. Your discovered hosts. So like I said, it was a really, really odd issue, and I would like to take it up in a different one where I've had some time to dig into and try to figure out what's going on. But for now, not have the time.
Right on. I was just asking because I was curious if there was, since it sounds like a good request. I mean, it makes sense. Is there a red mine for this?
I tried to find one, but there were related ones, but yeah, I didn't find an exact one. So again, we were planning on going with a different issue. This was just we're trying to doing triage and figuring out that, oh wait, this is our own fault apparently. So
nice. Okay, well yeah, sounds like a good case for a new a red mine here then.
Yeah, I'll see if I can throw up a red mine on it, and maybe even a pull request. Depends on free time, unfortunately. Yes, Adam.
Is this an issue that you started noticing recently, or has that been around for a while?
This issue has probably been around since, well, whenever this code was written, like 6 years ago, apparently, or at least 6 years ago. So it's an issue that we just haven't really bothered with. It's a minor issue. Like I said, we originally wanted to do a different one, but that was partially our own fault. So we wanted to have a slightly better problem for the pilot for this thing, but yeah, like I said, one colleague's on vacation, and the rest of us are nose to the grindstone at the moment. So this was what we were able to do a quick triage of and actually get a problem, an easily reproducible problem that we can explain, that we can showcase, that we can even point out where the issue is and potential fix.
Right. So I looked around for a moment before the demo actually started. What you proposed as a fix could probably work, but I would like to suggest an alternative. Discovery carries a bunch of models and services and whatever which override stuff from Foreman itself. That would be the discovered host itself, which overrides the host base, I think. It would be the fact parser, which extends and partially overrides the Puppet fact parser. And where I'm going with this is the auto detection of subnets should work in Foreman for non-discovered hosts, right? So there is a slight chance that some of those overrides are actually breaking or disabling stuff that's already there.
So that is a very possible thing, yes. I know that the fact importer itself is doing... I remember looking at this code, and I was also looking at...
if you could stay here, in here, the line 23, the get facts for interface and the keep subnet true. The keep subnet is a flag that actually disables the subnet detection.
Yeah, we're doing
and
that
then there's
ourselves
the
in
hook,
places.
which that's the subnet for the primary interface. But if we didn't disable the subnet detection globally, but did it selectively only for the primary interface, then maybe that would allow the stuff that is in Foreman to actually work again.
Yeah, so you're still doing the taxonomy based on the primary interface, but you're letting the fact parser actually.
Exactly.
That is also possible. That is very true. That is probably going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I tried looking into the history, but couldn't really find why it's done this way. Apart
Again,
from it just
I'm assuming that it's just a
ancient
case of,
at this time.
Yeah, we've found a bunch of those fun ones where why it was done like this, it's no idea.
I think the reason may have been that a long time ago we used to have only one interface, the primary one, right? And then discovery was created, and only after that we extracted interfaces into separate table and allowed to have more interfaces. So that may have been an omission from the time, like 7 years ago. Could be the time.
I think multiple interfaces were available 7-8 years ago, but it could very well have been something that it is most likely a 7 year ago thing, or the reason why it's done like this. That is. Do we have any other interesting ideas?
That would be probably my suggestion. As a bare minimum, I'd like to ask you if you could file a red mine for that, because it seems it's a valid issue and it's pretty well specified.
Yeah, definitely going to. I was looking through Redmine, but I couldn't find any existing issues. So I'm definitely going to have to open one. But again, I have not had the time yet, so can't promise anything, but hopefully.
And once we have a Redmine, then of course patches are always welcome.
Yep. Yeah, I opened the pull request for another issue just today. So we do try to upstream most of our work. like I said, all of this work we're doing here with the whole roaming host system is something I want to split out into a proper plugin at some point. It's just, again, priorities and time. Priorities and time is always a issue, unfortunately. But I'll make note on the fact that this could probably be a better solution for it if and when I get to actually doing proper triaging and testing for solutions. Any other comments? Because if nothing else, then I don't have anything more to say on this topic. But yeah, thank you for having me for this pilot for the Bring Your Own Problem, and I hope next time we'll have a slightly more interesting one to showcase.
Thanks a lot, Alexander. It was very interesting. Don't worry about it. Yeah, of course. Okay, great. I'm happy we got a chance to do it. Yeah, looking forward to the next one. And for the next community demo, as usual, in 1 month, on July 30th. Yeah, if there are no more questions, thank you everyone for joining, for staying, and of course for all the presenters. Thank you for sharing your work with us today. See you all next time.
See you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.